I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life.
Political presidential talk to me. Would you ever?
Probably not.
In the 1990s, Donald Trump was building a reputation for himself as a ladies' man.
Damn oil price down.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
We will make America great again.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. Today we're going to be having a look at the life of Donald Trump, especially from the 80s up until he was elected. And hopefully for some people who watch this, it might be able to dispel a little bit of the propaganda that is out there about the Big Don. Some of this being that he's stupid, a racist, a sexist, only rich because of his father, a failed businessman, and all of the rest. So let's get into the first clip from one of his first TV interviews in 1980.
Would you like to be the president of the United States?
I really don't believe I would run it, but I would like to see somebody as the president who could do the job, and there are very capable people in this country.
Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile.
It's no coincidence that he predicted the future here, guys. You see, Trump understands the world and he has an instinct that very, very few people possess. And this is why he's been so successful and how he's managed to predict so many world events. And also how he has such an eye for the real problems with America and why he is the man to fix it. And people still to this day, because of all of the media propaganda, think that his run for president was just some publicity stunt and that he never actually wanted to be president. He's just some idiot who got lucky and really landed on his feet. This could not be further from the truth, and this interview from 43 years ago shows just that. Donald Trump is nobody's fool, and he knew exactly what he was doing long before he did it. He may have never been a politician, but he was well aware of how the game worked. And it was not his first time around politicians, that's for sure.
I know a lot of the politicians. I like a lot of the politicians. They're friends of mine.
So now let's have a look at him talking about the state of the country in 1989.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
But you are what might be classified as an Eastern Republican. Fair?
Well, I guess you could say that, yes.
Which means kind of a Rockefeller, Chase Manhattan Republican?
I never thought of it in those terms.
How do you define? Are you a Bush Republican?
No, I think I'm really, the people that I do best with are the people that drive the taxis. You know, wealthy people don't like me because I'm competing against them all the time, and they don't like me, and I like to win. The fact is, I go down the streets of New York, and the people that really like me are the taxi drivers and the workers, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I really get a great response.
Why are you a Republican?
I have no idea. I mean, I am a Republican because I just believe in certain principles of the Republican Party.
Do you have the genes to be a successful politician?
Well, you never really know. I think I'm pretty outspoken, and that's not probably a good thing in terms of a politician, but it's a good thing if you ever got elected, you can really do a job.
You have flirted with the idea of politics. Now you're here at your first national convention. Does that get you interested in possibly making the plunge?
Now you have to tell me something. Who told you I flirted?
Well,
I didn't know that I flirted with.
Well, you took out full-page ads in the New York Times to talk about your foreign policy. Some people would say...
I do feel very strongly about the country. I love the country.
You've become a role model in this country. The reason that your book sells, the reason that your board game sells, is because people are looking to leaders. People are looking for values, and you're one of the people. And it's no, you may dismiss it, but people are talking about, Donald Trump for president. What they're really talking about is Donald Trump, show us the way. Be the true white hat.
I'm, again, somebody that has a good instinct financially. I have had historically. I followed markets. I've been going the right direction, whether it's New York real estate or stocks or whatever. I know from a common sense financial standpoint that something has to burst. When a country is losing billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and when other countries are making hundreds of billions of dollars, something is going to burst, and it's going to start here. I know it. It's a question of when. To me, it's not a question if, it's a question of when. And unless we're going to solve our problem, and the problem is caused by our allies, unless we're going to solve that problem, this country is in very, very big trouble. And I'm not talking recession kind of trouble, I'm talking depression kind of trouble.
Would you really like to take over and run the country as you have run your organization?
I would much prefer that somebody else do it. I just don't know if the somebody else is there. I don't know if we have the kind of advocate that you need. We need major surgery. This country needs major surgery.
Are you the surgeon?
I think I do a fantastic job, but I really would prefer not doing it.
Are you saying you will take it home if drafted?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I hope that somebody comes along who can be an advocate, and I think that somebody will be so popular.
But you haven't seen it.
He or she will be the most. But I don't see it now. I wish that person were there. But again, I do know one thing. It's not a question. This country is losing hundreds of billions. It's not a question if, it's a question when.
I really do believe him when he says that he wishes somebody else could do it. And to me, that shows that he understood the sacrifice that he was making when he ran for president. And now I do think there is still that desire for legacy that all great men have, especially towards the end of their life. And there's that ego drive as well. But just imagine how good life must have been for him. Just chilling at Mar-a-Lago, the place that he built, playing golf, hanging out with his kids and grandkids, getting deals done. It would have been amazing. But instead of just enjoying that and riding off into the sunset, he decided that he wanted his swan song to be saving the country. A country that needs saving because it is on life support. The American dream is effectively dead. The manufacturing industry is pretty much dead. The borders are wide open. The capital cities are overrun with homelessness and drugs and crime and gangs. And this is not the way that America should be, and he saw this coming from way back. While everybody was having a great old time in the 80s and watching American Pie in the 90s, Donald Trump was predicting the downfall of America that has come to fruition. And now let's have a look at Trump of the 90s, or should we say, the Donald.
Donald Trump is the Hugh Hefner of the 90s.
In the 1990s, Donald Trump was building a reputation for himself as a ladies' man.
For an older person, he's very attractive.
He may be the most eligible bachelor in America. Please welcome Donald Trump.
Gone were the days when he was known primarily as the real estate mogul of New York.
Remember the 80s? The yuppies, the buyouts, the junk bonds, and especially the Donald.
The man who was the darling of the 80s is seen in the 90s as a man in trouble, and he knows it.
The drama started when Donald began cheating on his wife, Ivana Trump, with aspiring actress Marla Maples. After an ugly public falling out, Donald and Ivana divorced in 1992, with some reports that Ivana got millions from the split.
Donald Trump's former or current girlfriend, depending on what day it is sharing all her secrets for staying in shape.
Donald eventually married Marla, 2 months after she gave birth to a baby girl. But by the end of the decade, Trump was single again, and he seemed to enjoy the dating scene.
The reputation of Donald Trump, the man who dates a different woman every year.
I don't do that. I mean, I've been with a number of women, but it's been over a fairly long period of time. I've had great relationships with women.
If you could have your choice, who would be the one person you'd date?
Wow.
Or who are the three most beautiful women in the world?
Well, how about Lady Di? That would be an interesting one. She's going to be available for me.
What kind of women
not
do
my
you
choice.
like?
I think my choice might be you. Look at the legs on her. Boy. Could be you.
Can you imagine how controversial I'd be? You think about Clinton with the women. How about me with the women? Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, I think there is a certain controversy to me, and I am single, and I do go out with women.
Now, the Donald has been known for his abilities and his appreciation for the ladies over the years. And some may take issue with this, especially the scandals of him cheating on his wife, and that's very understandable. But does that make him a worse president? Definitely not. And you may not like him as a person, and you may really resent the fact that he loved being with supermodels and having nice things and living the high life and enjoying the fruits of his success. Me, however, I'm a little more understanding, and I find his family situation actually very admirable, which I'll get into soon. But during this time, Donald Trump also got himself into enormous financial debt. He was billions of dollars in debt, according to him.
While his family life may have been on the rocks, his business empire was crumbling.
The headline was quite accurate. Welcome to the 90s, Donald. Because it was like he got whacked right in the face. It was amazing.
Trump opened his third casino in Atlantic City in April 1990.
Lasers, fireworks, and miles of neon lights provided the color as Trump opened the Taj Mahal Casino Hotel in Atlantic City.
But just months after it opened, the Taj Mahal missed one of its debt payments, and Trump began looking for a bailout.
Back in the 1990s, you owed something like $900 million. Your empire was pretty
much more than that.
You owed more than that?
975 was personally guaranteed. That was just the small part. That was the harder debt. But I owed many, many billions of dollars. And now my company is much bigger and stronger than it was in the 80s.
And it looked as though the empire of the Donald was all falling down. He was in a very dark place, but somehow managed to turn it all around. And he came into the turn of the century stronger than ever.
So Trump sold off the lots and made a deal where he got to keep some of the profits from any future development, and to put his name on a few of the buildings, marking a new chapter in which Trump was less of a developer and more of a brand.
Who knows better about hard times than me? I had a company, it was doing well, I had tremendous debt like this country, and in 1990, the whole country, it just went very, very bad.
As his finances stabilized, Trump began to reclaim his status in the public psyche with publicity stunts like a 1995 Pizza Hut commercial in which he appeared with Ivana Trump.
Doing Ivana?
What will people think?
It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
And he definitely would have learned from his mistakes. And whilst he had a tough decade in terms of his finances and also his relationships, his ability to read the chessboard hadn't diminished. Here were his thoughts on the Iraq War.
You know, nobody talks about the soldiers that are coming back with no arms and no legs. And I saw at Mar-a-Lago on Mondays, I make Mar-a-Lago my club that you know about.
In Palm Beach.
I make that twice now. On a Monday, I let returning Iraqi injured soldiers come to the premises. The most beautiful people I've ever seen. But they're missing arms and legs. They're with their wives. Sometimes they're with their girlfriends. And the tears are coming down the faces of these people.
Guys, if you enjoy this video about the Donald, and if you enjoy this format of video, then please don't hesitate to take a second to like the video. Would really appreciate that. And also, if you like this channel, if you get value from these videos, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that big red button below. Back to the clips.
Well, I just hate what's happened to this country. We've gone to a country that's no longer respected. We're in a war that we should have never, and by the way, I'm worse than any hawk there is in terms of military and in terms of defending ourselves. But Saddam Hussein didn't knock down the World Trade Center. He had nothing to do with it. And there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Another thing that he was right on, his instincts were on the money again. Whilst others around him were all drinking the Kool-Aid and falling for everything, he wasn't. And that really says something. And then during his own presidency, he didn't get America into any new wars. It's safe to say that he was a very anti-war president. And look at what has happened since he has left office. Nobody's scared of Sleepy Joe. And now on that note, let's have a look at how he deals with foreign entities.
Trump has said quite seriously that he's a good enough bargainer to negotiate a nuclear disarmament treaty with the Russians.
This is not a wealthy country. People think America, you know, wealth, this and that. The Japanese are saying that. What a wealthy country. I mean, they're saying it and they're laughing. The country's losing $200 billion a year. We ought to go in, the next time they fire so much as a bullet at one of our ships, we ought to go in and take over their oil.
With each of these instances, Trump refined his playbook. His attacks.
Steve, you're going to have to start pushing these people now a little bit because it's getting a little ridiculous.
The other day, the head of 3M said that President Obama is anti-business. Do you get the same feeling that he does?
Well, I don't know that it's anti-business or he just really doesn't know exactly what to do. And I'm afraid it probably is the second thing. I don't see him necessarily as anti-business. I think that He is not sophisticated in the ways of business. He hasn't dealt with the people that you've dealt with and that I've dealt with. I deal with China, as an example, a lot. It is never easy. And I've made some very big deals with the Chinese. I've come out on top. I've come out in great shape. I sell apartments to Chinese people. I get along great with them. It's not like, anti-China. I just think it's ridiculous that we allow them to do what they're doing to this country with the manipulation of the currency that you write about and understand, and all of the other things that they do. And frankly, if I were them and if I could get away with it, I take my hat off to them, frankly. They do get away with it. And I hire companies all the time, and it's so hard for our companies to compete against Chinese companies. I mean, these companies have such an advantage.
Any politician, do you think, has the pulse? Anyone running for president has the pulse of what you know about the economy?
Well, the biggest problem is something I never hear about. I told you about it once. Every time they lower interest rates, the cartel, because I call it a cartel, right, the illegal monopoly, raises oil prices, okay? So the monopoly, because that's all it is, it's a total illegal monopoly. If businesses ever formed OPEC, everybody would be put in jail. Here they are, and every time a country hits oil, they're invited in to the cartel, okay? It's a disgrace. So what happens is every time interest rates go down, oil prices go up, and it's the same number. I mean, practically the same money. Right. So they lower it, they raise it, they lower it, they raise it. Now you have oil that's close to 100, going to be over 100, and nobody in this country calls and says, get that damn oil price down. You get it down.
But I have to tell you that our country is in serious, serious trouble. We owe $17 trillion our debt. How do you pay off $17 trillion? Nobody ever heard the expression a number of years ago, the word trillion. We have debt that's beyond belief. We have deficits that nobody can even comprehend. China, which I've been talking about for the last 5 years, yesterday, right in our face, they just devalued their currency. Now, for those that don't understand devaluation, what they're basically doing is saying, we're really ripping you big league. Nobody's ever done it better than us, but now we're going to really do it again. And the reason they did it, and everybody was surprised by it, was because our leadership is so weak and so pathetic that they can get away with it. And believe me, they're taking our jobs, and they're taking them big league. And China's not the only one. You look at other countries, they're all doing the same thing. They have no respect for our leader, and frankly, they have no respect any longer for our great country. Now you look at what's going on with Afghanistan. You have Karzai that's treating our president like he doesn't even exist. So they make a deal, and I'm not advocating stay, because frankly, I want to build this country. I want to build these schools. I don't want to build a school in Afghanistan, a road going to the school, watch it get built up and then blown up 4 times, and they keep rebuilding and rebuilding, and you go to Brooklyn, New York, and you can't have schools. You go to Iowa, you can't. You go to wherever you go, and you can't have schools. Because we don't have any money, because we're spending it in other places where, frankly, they don't want us, and I don't want them. And it's amazing.
You see, guys, I'm no expert on this, but the way I see it is that Donald Trump appears to me to be so many levels above your regular human being, or even any high-level politician for that matter, when it comes to delivering results. He has gone through a lifetime of constant battling in the New York business scene, getting deals done at home and abroad, and just constantly having to get the elbows out and compete with other savages. It's a world that very few people, I think, will ever understand, and you can only imagine the kind of skills that he's acquired. Negotiation, reading a room, body language, networking, and psychological warfare would have all been required to get to those levels. And people say, yeah, but he's mean, he's not nice, and he says things that offend people. Good. That's what you want in a president. If you want a president who's a nice guy, then you're just not thinking. Imagine how easily manipulated and taken advantage of a nice guy is when he walks into a room with Putin and Xi and the Saudi royal family, people whose whole entire life is dedicated to getting the best possible result for their people, that will lie to your face and screw you and your country over without losing a wink of sleep if it means advancing their interests. The last thing you want is a nice guy, and I think that in that world, for the few people who ever get to actually experience that, the absolute cream rises to the top.
He said, I think Donald Trump is an artful liar. I think he is a greedy, vicious, and arrogant man.
Well, I don't know, is that supposed to be a compliment or not? I'm not sure.
You talk in your book about getting even, the importance of getting even. Is revenge sweet?
I believe strongly in getting even. If somebody has hurt you, if somebody's gone out of their way to hurt you, I think that if you have the opportunity, you should certainly go out of your way to do a number on them. And I've had more criticism about that one statement in my book than any other statement. The clergy is called, the ministers, the priests, the rabbis. They've all said, what a terrible thing to say. That's against our teachings. I just believe it. I believe in an eye for an eye.
If you did turn the other cheek, as the clergy are presumably suggesting to you, what would that do to your reputation in business circles here in New York, do you think?
Well, I don't know what it would do to my reputation. I just don't believe instinctively in turning the other cheek. If somebody was out to hurt you, if somebody was out to do a number on you, I really believe that you should just do a number on them if you get the chance.
Can you give me an example?
Well, there were people that I really helped in business when things were very good in the 1980s and when my company was going good. And they did not lift a finger to help me when I needed it. And there were a couple of them that could have very easily helped me. Now I have the opportunity to do a number on those people, and I will tell you I'm having a lot of fun with the opportunity.
So when I look at Trump versus Joe Biden, a career politician, and I think, who would I rather be the leader of the free world? Who's the guy that I think will keep America out of wars, get the best deals done, be the strongest diplomatically, and lead to peace and prosperity? Well, definitely the guy who has spent his entire life doing exactly that, but in business. And this is why I also really like Vivek. I like a guy who has proved himself in the arena, and not just a guy who has sat around biding his time in politics. I don't want somebody who's been shaking the right hands, kissing the right babies, greasing the right palms, having the right opinions on foreign policies, telling the right lies, and stroking the right egos. No, thank you. And now for some highlights of the Don's run to the White House.
Our country is in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore. We used to have victories, but we don't have them. When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China in a trade deal? They kill us. I beat China all the time. When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo? It doesn't exist, folks. They beat us all the time. When do we beat Mexico at the border? They're laughing at us, at our stupidity. And now they're beating us economically. They are not our friend, believe me. But they're killing us economically. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. We need somebody that literally will take this country and make it great again. Thank you. Who would have believed that when we started this journey on June 16th last year, we, and I say we, because we are a team, would have received almost 14 million votes, the most in the history of the Republican Party. Who would have believed this? Who would have believed this? Friends, delegates, and fellow Americans, I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States. Whether we are black or brown or white. We all bleed the same red blood of patriots. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Sorry. Not crying. Not crying. What incredible scenes when you think about what he achieved there. Coming in as an outsider and making it all the way to the Oval Office. It really is incredible, and will we see the same thing happen over the next 12 months? Time will tell. But one thing that's always stood out to me about Trump, and one thing that you can see in those clips, is the relationship that he has with his family. I think that says a lot about a man. I mean, Trump Jr. is a chip off the old block, and he just seems like a stand-up guy, smart, competent, gregarious, and I think he'll be president one day. And then compare him to Hunter Biden. I mean, just imagine for a second if Donald Trump Jr. had have been caught in the same scandals as Hunter Biden. You can only imagine the kind of coverage that that would have gotten in the media. And the rest of his family just seem like good people as well. There's not really any scandals. None of them have pipes hanging out of their mouth or sex tapes. And more importantly, they love him so much and they are ride or die for him, which shows that he is an incredible father at the very least. And once again, I don't think this is something that can be put down to luck or coincidence. I think that he's a genuinely very successful man who has achieved excellence in many different areas of his life. And he's had his failures and his down moments, but do we really want to dwell on them so much when there's so much good? I mean, we've all had those moments, and no doubt it's made him who he is today. And another thing that I'm impressed by is that he's never touched a drink of alcohol or done any drugs in his life, which probably explains his longevity and why he's still so sharp at his age. But then one of the main narratives against Trump is that he's so divisive. And I do get that. But the only reason why he's so divisive is because the media and the US government attacked him relentlessly like rabid animals for the last 8 years. So I get that a lot of people hate him, and it is tiring at times. But it's no reason to turn your back on him, because if you turn your back on him, then the media and the government will just do the same thing to the next guy that tries to come along and save the country. And the cycle will continue, the swamp will get deeper, and the establishment win. But I've got a feeling that the Americans aren't going to do that. And that's what I love about America. There's a real backbone about that country that I just admire so much. They have such a strong sense of freedom and justice. And they really do get into their politics. And if they are backing someone, if they truly believe that this person's intentions are right, then they're going to ride with that person. And I see that with Trump, and I see that with his base. So let's hope it prevails. And now on to the last bit, just to take us home. And I had to put this in here because if you can say anything about Trump, even if you hate him, you have to admit this is a funny man, and he cracks me up sometimes. So let's end this with some of his funniest moments.
Kids ever say, Dad, hey, easy, Dad, come on, you're a little here or there?
Oh, they love me, and they want to make sure that everything gets left to them.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Lisa, or as I call her, Miss USDA, I want you to be a judge at my next Miss Universe pageant. Because like the universe, you're constantly expanding and filled with dark matter.
Go take a look at it.
The
Look,
research
I'm
says
going
the crime does not match what you're saying.
depends
The
on whose
research, the Pew Research, which is independent,
Okay,
says
don't be naive. You're a very naive person.
the Pew Research says that there are for immigrants on the whole
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about.
Nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
We'll do the wall. Don't worry, we're going to do the wall. We're going to do the wall, and by the way, who's going to pay for the wall? Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee. Go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
And who is the current Miss USA now?
Well, we have a Miss USA from who the hell knows where she's from. and we.
She's from Kentucky.
She's so cute.
She went to New York and she was hanging out at all the parties, doing what Paris and Lindsay do, you know, dancing and whatever. And so he held a press conference to announce whether or not she was going to retain her crown.
Yeah.
And then she started to cry.
She did.
So I just want to thank Donald is giving me a second chance.
I think it's brilliant.
And there he is, hair looping, going, everyone deserves a second chance. And I'm going to give her a second chance. Listen, he annoys me on a multitude of levels. He's the moral authority. Left the first wife, had an affair. Left the second wife, had an affair. Had kids both times, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America. Donald, sit and spin, my friends. I don't enjoy him. No.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. We're all a little chubby, but Rosie's just worse than most of us. But it's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person, both inside and out.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
You're the president, and people tuning into these briefings, they want to get information and guidance and want to know what to do. They're not looking for rumors.
I'm the president, and you're fake news.
Why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty
Please
question.
go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll
you
go over
pointed
here.
to me. I have two questions, Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young
to,
lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague
Okay.
finish. But can I ask you a
Ladies and
question,
gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay. What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion fucking dollars in the bank. Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me."
Rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question.
but I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions. Okay.
Mr. President, I know that you continue to say you obviously...
Okay, hold it 1 second. Any other questions from any other people? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Now, so you only Miss Universe and the Miss USA. You Miss USA pageants, Miss America as well?
Well, I might get them. You know, we're on network television. NBC, your favorite network, just renewed it for 3 more years.
Oh.
And Miss America doesn't have right now a network.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
now you've revitalized the beauty pageants.
Yeah, I think I've done a good job.
Made them more interesting to the home viewers. And what was the key to that? What was the one thing that you needed to fix?
Well, Miss America made the bathing suits one piece, very large, and you weren't allowed to wear shoes. What I did is I made the heels higher and the bathing suits smaller, and it was amazing. It was amazing what happened to the ratings.
Hunter, you're a loser. Why did you get $1.5 billion, Hunter? And your father was never considered smart. He was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass.
So like I said, guys, great comedian. And what it shows to me, he's a real human being. He's not a robot. When you see him, you're seeing something that is actually authentic, which you never get to see in politics. And I think that's why a lot of people love him so much. They feel like they know him. So what do I say to 4 more years of Trump rallies and press conferences and more? Yes, please. Let's make America great again. So with that, guys, if you want to find me on Locals, you can hit those links. All my other links will be there as well if you guys want to come say hi. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, that's going to be right here. If you want to watch another video, right here. Until next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.